All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Good morning, everybody. My name is Katie Stinchin. I'm the Executive Director of the Massachusetts Brewers Guild. Thank you all for being here. I know many of you are members of our association. Some of you are from our friends of Chris's and Get Optimized from across the country. So we're grateful for everybody for being here. We are going to be saving time for Q&A. So as questions come in, please add them into the chat and we'll be sure to get to them. A quick introduction about our newest associate member, Get Optimized, and Chris. Chris is the founder and CEO of Get Optimized, a marketing agency built for craft beer. He has over 11 years of marketing industry experience and graduated with a degree in marketing from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas in 2013. And when he's not working or hosting a podcast, Chris and his wife enjoy hiking and watching Golden Knights hockey or Denver Broncos football. So we won't be mad at you because we know you're not in Massachusetts. We're big Patriots folks are out in these parts, and Bruins, go Bruins. So I'll let you take over the screen and take over from there.
Sweet. Oh yeah, I kind of was worried about putting the sports in there, but with all you Massachusetts people, but
We're
it's
brutal
okay.
out here. We're brutal.
We'll survive. Right on. So thank you for the intro. Thank you guys for letting me hang out with you and share some good stuff. It's always nice to be able to do these presentations because I love helping out. So definitely excited to be part of the guild and all that comes with that too. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so what are we doing today? So let's set the intention really quick. If you were to go on and Google search like how to do a marketing strategy or give me a marketing strategy, or you were to ask Chat GPT nowadays with the AI, give me a marketing strategy, you're going to get stuff. These systems will spit out some pretty basic answers like have a social media account and post stuff, promote your business. And what is missing from that and what I intend to give you today is the why behind those things, behind those tactics. And it's that underlying framework, the why you need to promote and why you should have these different things that really is going to be the determiner of the success of your marketing strategy. And I think we're going to cover that today. I think you're going to get a ton of value that way. And hopefully you get some stuff that you haven't seen before, haven't heard in this way before as well. Back it up. So this is what we're going to go over today. So if your marketing strategy is going to be successful, it's going to have these core elements in it. You're going to make it easy for your team to communicate your brand. You're going to build an information hub for your new and existing customers. You're going to communicate with your most valuable audience. And the key part of number 4 is that you're going to have an ROI focused promotional strategy for acquiring new customers. And again, that key is ROI focused. We're going to unpack that through the presentation in that section of the presentation. And you're going to be growing the lifetime value of your existing customers. And if you use this as the framework of your marketing strategy, all that stuff that I talked about before about ChatGPT and the silly, not silly, but like the basic stuff, like have a social media account, do email, whatever, that becomes tools in the toolbox to execute this stuff. And we're going to talk about all these things today and show you how this is really the why behind your marketing strategy, starting with making it easy for your team to communicate your brand. And we're back to where we were, I think, where we stopped. So what does that mean to communicate a brand? Well, it starts with brand guidelines, I think. And if you haven't seen a brand guidelines document before, there's some examples on the screen for you. But what that document is really like a guidebook, a rule book for your brand. It's got your logo in there. It's got different versions of your logo. It has color palette, fonts, really good brand guidelines documents. Also have some notes about tone and personality. And brands get really serious about this stuff. I've written and seen brand guidelines with notes on which emojis to use on social media and stuff like that. And that stuff matters. Branding matters. But the reason I bring up the brand guidelines document is because this is a tool to help your team better communicate your brand, to use the right colors when they're designing stuff on Canva, to use the right fonts. It really kind of becomes more than just like a PDF document. Like it's almost a folder where you've got all these tools in there, and anybody who touches your brand, whether they're communicating on social media, they're running your email, maybe you've got taproom managers that are involved with this, they really need to be briefed on the brand guidelines and given access to it so they could always come back to it and review it and look at it. Keep in mind that what we're talking about here is making it easy to communicate your brand. Well, the guidelines document is a major part about that. And the reason why is because we want consistency. Consistency creates familiarity, and really we want familiarity. That's what we want. We need consistency to make familiarity. And there's lots of great advice out there for this, especially on the distribution front and how to set up your labels so that it's consistent and your logo's in the same spot and all this stuff all over the place. But to accomplish that, it's as simple as having templates. Have the template in your files for your label art. You could get, even more granular with templates and have like a taproom signage template. So your stuff looks the same, feels the same. It makes it easy for your customers to read and understand. And quick tangent here, like what some of this does and why consistency and familiarity is so valuable is because by making it familiar, you're reducing the cognitive load on someone's brain. And like human brains are really, really good at being lazy. We want to be lazy. Our brains are like looking for the shortcuts everywhere. And a consistent brand, a familiar brand is making the brain's choice on what to pick up, what to read, what information to absorb a lot easier. And, that's your quick consumer psychology lesson for today, but that's part of what's going on there. So to make your team better at easing the cognitive load on your customers, have templates, have brand guidelines. You could even have standard operating procedures for your marketing stuff. Like you could have some guidelines in there for when we post, how we post, when we send out emails, what we say, how we structure this stuff. We have clients in our network that are pretty I'm going to use the word intense, but it's not really the right word. It's just that we want to follow a certain set of like formatting guidelines for when we post about new beers. Like, what are we bolding? How do we list ABV? Where does the description go on the social media post? That stuff is so inbred into what we do on the labels, but to have that consistency on social media too is also valuable. So you could consider that as part of your communication strategy. Also, part of this strategy is making the files easy to share. I'm a huge component of cloud storage. I think it's a question that I get too frequently. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have any cloud storage set up? Make sure this stuff, all of your brand elements are somewhere that everybody can access, that they're organized, that you've got some labels on your folders, and you could get super organized here in your beers folder. You could have cans, you could have glassware, you could have different types of glassware in there. All that stuff makes it easy for someone who's going to manage your brand and communicate your brand, a lot easier to find everything. And it allows you control, right? Like if you're controlling what goes into these folders, when you have a new taproom manager that's now going to post stuff on social media, or a new marketing agency that comes on board and says, yeah, we're going to run stuff for you now. If you've got it all organized and figured out inside of your folders, now there's no, oh man, we posted the wrong picture, or we're using the wrong logo, or the back and forth of like, which picture do we use? Where is this stuff? I can't find it. Nothing's labeled. Man, you're reducing a lot of work by keeping things organized. And really what you're doing is you're having brand control, because you're saying, this is the stuff we want to put out. This is how we're going to say it. And to bring this back to the point of this section is it's all about making it easy for your team to communicate your brand. All right, let's move to the next thing. Building an information hub for your new and existing customers. What does that look like? Well, at the core of it is your website. Your website is the information hub for your business. This is where your location goes, your hours are on there, menus, event pages. You're running e-commerce, so all your product information is on there. For merch, if you're doing DTC, that's also where this stuff is. Maybe you're selling events. Whether you're doing ticketed stuff or not, your event pages are a major source of information for new folks, because if you're running ads to push people to the event page, here's all that information. Your existing customers are going, hey, what's going on at Westfax this weekend? Let's jump on and take a look at what's going on. Food truck schedule, it's in the screenshot there. All this stuff is information, and your job is to share that information as cleanly as possible. I remember my marketing 101 class back at UNLV in college over a decade ago. Geez. My marketing teacher, one of the first days of school was like, what does marketing mean? What's the definition of marketing? Everybody's hand goes up and they're like, it's advertising, it's sales, et cetera, et cetera. Nobody got the right answer. And eventually said, marketing is communication. And that definition always stuck with me throughout my whole entire career. And if you think about it, that is what marketing is. You're communicating information to people that, are either going to buy your stuff or share your stuff or whatever the case is. Your website sits at the core of that. So make sure it's clean, make sure it's accurate, and use it as such. Now, designing your website, because I know there's folks that are going to ask this. So, what do I do? What's the best website builder out there? How involved do I get? And honestly, my opinion is you don't need to be fancy. You can use Squarespace. We use Squarespace all the time. We build lots of brewery websites on it and other websites too. Or a similar type builder is fine. Like I always talk crap about Wix. If you've ever heard me talk about websites before, I'm like, Wix is okay. And it's okay. It's come a long way. I don't think it's bad by any means, but it's very similar to Squarespace and works fine. But these kind of like drag and drop no code builders are totally fine for what you need to do. They have lots of SEO tools built into them and good. You could use WordPress too. You could make something custom too. But the key here is that you want to keep it simple and you want to make sure that you can update it regularly. That's why it's one of the core reasons why I like Squarespace and Wix and these other builders like that is because now you don't need a website developer to go on and update information on your website. You can do it. Your Tapper manager can do it. It's pretty easy to navigate these systems nowadays. People are kind of used to it. So if you want to make sure that it's updated regularly and that the information is accurate, keep it simple and make it easy, right? We can't talk about sharing information in websites without talking about SEO. So I could give like a whole hour long, probably beyond presentation on SEO and tactics and all this kind of stuff, but I wanted to share this slide because this is like the core pieces of SEO that I would suggest that you look at this and go, okay, this is the stuff I need to go figure out what it is and how to implement it into my site. I'll touch on this a little bit, but there's a lot more root systems within this stuff. Hopefully, this is a little bit of a resource for you to go and discover on your own. But let's roll through it really quick. So if we think about SEO, what we're doing there is sharing information, relevant information with people that are searching for it. And that's why it's in this section. Local schema, what that means really is it's like a snippet of code that exists on your website that has information embedded into it about your location, about your hours, your phone number, your like all that stuff. And the reason that code exists is because it communicates with map systems. So like Google Maps, Bing, Apple, all that stuff, it reads your local schema to make sure you show up on local map searches. Oftentimes that information, like with this Squarespace builder, you don't have to have a custom schema code built. It's actually just the business information. So if you set up a website, if you think about it back when, they probably prompted you, say, hey, what's your location? What's your hours? What's your phone number? That's because they're embedding that stuff into the local schema. If you haven't looked at that stuff in a while, probably go take a look because that's going to impact how you're being visible on these maps locations. Your title tags, your H1, H2, H3, maybe some of you thought, oh, it's just formatting. It's bigger text. It's smaller text. No, actually, that's super important information that tells the search engine what a page is about and what your website is about. So you want to incorporate branded terms and prospecting terms into those title tags. And what I mean by branded and prospecting, branded is like the name of your brewery. I can't tell you how many times we've been asked, hey, we're not really showing up locally even when you search our name. And we open up the website and we look at it and we're like, well, you don't have your brand name in any H1, H2, or H3 at all. So Google doesn't know who you are. So you got to build your branded terms into those H1s, H2s, and H3s, but also prospecting terms. And what I mean by prospecting terms is that's the stuff you want to show up for like new potential business. So like brewery would be a term of a prospect, would be an example of a prospecting term. Brewery in Lakewood, an event happening, that kind of stuff is all stuff that is potential new people finding you that wouldn't know your brand name already. And again, you want to incorporate that stuff in your title tags, but you also want to incorporate those terms into your meta titles and descriptions. And what I mean by that is a third screenshot. If you go and do a Google search and you scroll down past the ads and you see the stuff listed there, that's all metadata. So the blue text is the title, the white text is the descriptions. and you can set that stuff up on your pages manually. Usually there's an SEO tool like with a Squarespace builder, or if you're on WordPress, you can use Yoast or Rank Math. These tools allow you to set up those meta descriptions and meta titles really easily. Image alt tags, another really great place to stack in branded and prospected terms. What image alt tags are is they're actually an accessibility feature on websites. If somebody has a visual impairment, they have a tool on their computer that like reads the website to them and tells them what the images look like, and it reads alt tags to describe that image. So this has come a long way in the last few years, especially. It used to be that image alt tags were just kind of just a place to throw in tons of keywords, but Google has updated their algorithm where they want you to be describing the image in a way that like somebody who couldn't see it would understand. So imagine someone holding a glass of beer. An alt tag would be, person holding a glass of beer. But if you're clever here, you can stack in your branded terms and prospected terms into that description. So instead of person holding beer, it could be craft beer lover holding Westfax beer. And like now you've stacked in these terms. Now you've got some SEO juice out of those alt tags. It all helps you be more findable in SEO, and it all helps you share information with that new and existing customers. Okay, on to number 3 here. Communicate with your most valuable audience members. This is like my favorite one because of how valuable this is. What I'm talking about here in most part is email marketing, but we could consider text message marketing. Apps now are getting a little bit better about this. It's a little more affordable these days to build your own app, or there's apps out there like Untapped and Crackem that allow you to, push messaging right to your audience, your subscribers there. But really at the core here, we're talking about email marketing. And the reason we are is because this is by far one of, if not your most valuable marketing channels. Why? Because you are communicating directly with people that have raised their hand and said, send me your marketing material. Like you can't beat that in terms of sending stuff out. Somebody's literally saying, send me your stuff. Also, you own this contact list. So unlike Facebook, unlike Instagram, unlike TikTok, whatever, and anybody who's watching this that has lost their Instagram account, it's been hacked, or you forgot your password to Facebook and you can't get into your business system inside of Facebook, and you reach out to Facebook and they tell you to kick rocks and you've had to restart your accounts, you know that you don't own that following. Now, I'm not saying that following is not valuable, right? And then we're going to talk about that a little bit more in later slide. But with email, you own that list. So you can take it anywhere. And the ROI on it is usually super high. It doesn't cost near as much to manage an email list. You've got a subscription service to like a MailChimp or something like that. Then you've got some time put into sending out an email, which is really a lot less time than almost any other marketing channel you're going to dedicate to, especially social media. So your cost is really low. And your return, these are people that are going to come in multiple times, buy your stuff, all like way more likely to buy your stuff than any other channel. So your return is really, really high compared to a low cost. So ROI on email, really, really good. Recommendations for email newsletter pacing, I'd say try to plan for at least 2 per month. One in the beginning, one in the middle of the month. That's a good pace. Every couple of weeks is good. Right now, we're doing email for our clients really about once per week, and we're good with that. Occasionally, we push out more, and it's only a special circumstance like we're doing a flash sale over the weekend. It's like we launch the flash sale, and then 2 days later it's like, okay, last day for the flash sale. And if you are subscribed to any e-commerce stores during Black Friday, you know exactly what this looks like. And yeah, you can get a little crazy with it. I'm saying don't do that, but it's okay to break that rule a little bit, but one per week is totally fine. Definitely at least a couple a month would be good for your brewery. Things you could think of: new releases, event announcements, information about your loyalty and rewards program. Basically, if you got something to promote, get it out via email. Also, with email, you got to have an opt-in strategy. With this, you need to be gathering subscribers. So here's a couple of examples of ways to do that. I'm a fan of a Wi-Fi gateway system. Our example is Beambox. We're actually agency partners with Beambox. I like that. It's actually one of the more affordable ones with a lot of robust functionality with it out there. That's why we chose to work with them. But what this system allows you to do, it kind of piggybacks off of your Wi-Fi that you're already giving away for free in the tap room. And when somebody logs on or tries to access the Wi-Fi, they're just hit with this screen that says, "Hey, why don't you sign up for our loyalty program to access the Wi-Fi?" I think there's ways you can bypass that too. So if people are like, "I don't want to join," it's okay, great, you can still access the Wi-Fi, whatever. But really, you find that you gain a lot more email subscribers via this way. And then one of the really cool parts about this is now you have like a data touch point that you can use to set up automated messaging. So like once somebody logs into the Wi-Fi once, we know that they're here, so it counts as a visit. Then when they come back again, the system automatically logs them in, so now we get a repeat visit, and you can probably imagine the things you can do here based on repeat visits. Oh, you visited 5 times. Here's a special reward for that and a special thank you. Oh, you haven't been in a while. It's been 3 months or something like that. Why don't you come back? And the ease of login and subscription here is just can't be beat with the Wi-Fi system. But if not that, then there's other ways to do this too. So you could have a QR code up in the tap room with a little monthly raffle tied to it. So print it out, put a sign up where you normally put up your signs. Say, hey, look, sign up for our loyalty rewards program, sign up for our email, and every month we're going to give away a $25 gift card to our new subscribers. Or hey, we're giving away glassware this month. Join, and you could potentially win a prize. Really easy thing to do. Probably pretty low cost for you, especially if they're going to come in and spend more than just that 25, 10, $50 gift card or whatever. And now you're gaining the real point here is to make it easy for someone to subscribe. And the QR code does that now that every camera on every smartphone can read those things. So definitely a fan of that. The good old website pop-up is another good example. You can see mine on the right there. You've probably seen this stuff out there to subscribe and saves that jump up on the website to give you a 10% off if you use the coupon code and you sign up. And you could promote your loyalty program via that same system. Not opposed to website pop-ups or slide-ins or whatever the case is. And most website builders have the ability to do that built in. Moving on, man, this one's also my favorite because uh, of how like impactful this particular piece will be to fueling growth for your brewery. In fact, I just gave a presentation, like a whole presentation on just this one section via another network the other day. But what I'm talking about here is engineering your marketing strategy, your promotional strategy in a way that is ROI focused. And let's unpack that. So, what does it mean to have an ROI focused marketing campaign? Well, first, you want to have a clear business objective. What do I mean by business objective? Well, there's some examples there on the right. Like what it's essentially some kind of measurable outcome for your business. It's going to have an impact on the growth of your business. So usually it's revenue tied, like bringing more people into the tap room, dollar per ticket, increasing dollar per ticket. That's a good example of a revenue driven one. To go sales, a really clear example. It doesn't always have to be like so directly geared towards revenue, like with social media following and email subscribers, but in a way that does trickle down into revenue, because we know that social media following, email subscribers, it's a lifetime value tied to those metrics. If we bring them in, yeah, we're sending a messaging, they're going to come in, they're going to repeat purchase. So down the road, yes, it is revenue, but initially, that could be a good business objective too, to grow your audience. And I kind of mentioned this a second ago, but part two of here is there needs to be some sort of measurable outcome. And that's because at the end of the day, after you run this campaign, you got to look at the output that you got and compare that to the input. So there's got to be something there that you can look at and say, okay, yeah, did we win? Did we lose? What's our ROI? So having a measurable outcome like dollar per ticket, to go sales. And oftentimes with the measurable piece, there's a time period associated with it, majority of the time. So like if you look at that dollar per ticket example, we might say, okay, we're trying to increase dollar per ticket throughout the month of April. What are we going to do? What kind of campaign are we going to build and run to do that? And that's what I mean by measurable outcome. And you can look at April and compare that to the month previous. You can look at April year over year, and that time period allows you to do that. And you could extrapolate that example to go sales over a holiday weekend, or social media following during a week that you're going to run a contest or something like that. But the time period helps. And the third thing here, and this is where you have to challenge yourself to be a good decision maker and a good manager, because the business objective that you're aiming for and what you see as a potential to get out of that business objective, the profit ceiling, the potential profit ceiling, it has to be worth all the effort and all the money that's going to go into it. And let's expand that a little bit. So, what I mean is that your potential return on the whole entire campaign has to be greater than the marketing expense and the operational cost. You can't forget about that. So, you got fixed costs on beer, you've got staff, that kind of stuff during an event. Maybe you paid for a DJ or a music artist or something like that. But all that cost has to be worth it. The juice has to be worth the squeeze, right? And again, you've got to be a good decision maker here and like not be like you have to control yourself from going too far into the dream scenario and being like, yeah, if we sold all the to-go beer in our fridge this weekend, that's what likely scenario. Let's roll with it. It's like, well, no, rein it in and ask yourself, okay, what's realistic here? Is a 25% bump in to-go sales realistic? Is us selling 50% of our capacity for an event realistic? And again, this is on you to be a good decision maker here. But if you look at that and you compare that to what you think it's going to cost to actually promote the campaign, then and you see that there's a good chance of winning, okay, this is something we go after. And if you apply this methodology, this framework to all of the marketing campaigns you start running, you're going to have some losses in there. Not everything is always going to work, but you're going to chalk up the W's and you're going to build a system that is engineered towards bringing ROI in for your business. And this really supercharges the growth for your marketing strategy for the brewery is this methodology. So along the lines of promotional strategies and acquiring new customers, we couldn't not talk about social media. So with that in mind, I think that you kind of have to split your mindset on social media into two categories. You're going to have an organic strategy and a paid strategy. On the organic side, this is probably a lot of the stuff you read about, right? So yeah, anyone posts, you could probably post once a day. That's a good advice. I think 4 to 7 times a week is probably a little bit better because I always say don't post if you have nothing to say. If you have something to say, post. You don't post just to post because some Hootsuite article told you to. Although you want to have frequent enough posts, you don't want to go ghost on the account. That impacts it too. But don't just post to post because you want to be posting stuff that's valuable out there in your feeds and in your reels and that kind of stuff. You want to mess it up by just having lame stuff because then you won't get engagement on that, and then that stuff doesn't look good, doesn't help you anyway. So post good stuff. If you can make it happen once a day, great. Stories really easy to put out daily. That's like live, real time. You can do multiple times a day, kind of stuff, and it's a little bit easier, a little more forgiving on the content format too. You don't have to have a super polished picture for Instagram or a fully music timed up reel or whatever to post out. You can get stuff out in the stories pretty easily, and it's a nice way to keep the feed, to keep your overall social media feeds rolling. On the content side, video definitely good. Emphasis on video across all of these social media platforms these days, but it doesn't always have to be video everywhere. I love carousels. I think carousels is a great engagement tool. Sometimes we see more engagement with carousels, and those are the ones you kind of swipe through if you're not familiar. I love that stuff, especially if you got a lot to share, a lot of cool pictures. They're good. Whatever you do, you typically want to avoid lots of copy overlay on your organic stuff. Really, this is your place to show the human side of the business. You want to be sharing cool behind the scenes stuff. You want it to look human, and copy text copy over a graphic and your flyer doesn't really do a good job of that stuff. So your organic strategy is kind of leaning away from that stuff, your flyers. And really don't forget about community engagement. Leverage user generated content. That's a great thing to do. If somebody posts about your stuff, they tag you, share that thing to your your story. Go and comment on it, engage with them because man, that's awesome. They tagged you and think your beer is awesome enough to share on their own social media. Dude, they're awesome. They deserve a huge high five and a thank you. And a great way to do that is sharing it to your story pages. Also, engage with your audience. So go on and comment on their post. Comment and reply to the stuff they put on your post. Like and follow other accounts. And if somebody does a cool backflip off of a boat or something like that, it wouldn't be bad to go and say, hey, that's awesome, dude. Cool. You don't have to be chilly in that environment. Say, hey, that's awesome. It would be even more awesome if you had my beer in your hand. Like, don't do that, but engage and be part of your community on social media. That's what it's there for. And that's all honestly what's going to help you with the social growth organic algorithm. On the paid side, a little bit different. So budgets, everybody always asks about budgets. If you're running just the tap room only, I usually recommend 300 to 500 bucks as a social media advertising budget. If you're doing tap room and distribution, well, you have more people in your audience, and you got to spend more to get in front of all those people. So usually we recommend about 500 to 1,000 bucks to set aside for social media ads. And like really, that could also include other channels too, especially when you start thinking about distro. So in the framework here, like, yeah, social media is probably going to be where you're going to spend most of your dollars, but you might consider things like Google Ads. Um, you can't really advertise on TikTok for alcohol, it's not allowed, but there's other platforms too, Twitter, X, whatever it is, Reddit. You can maybe mix in some of that stuff. But most of what we do is advertising through the Meta system. So Facebook, Instagram, and Google Display is where those ad dollars go. On the content side, still emphasizing video, still thinking carousels are good. Copy overlay is okay here. So a static flyer with text on it about an event, I'm cool with it going out in the organic feeds if we're boosting it, because the organic algorithm is not going to serve that to people, but we want that in front of people's eyeballs. And oftentimes a flyer can get across more information in less time than a video can. A video is like 30 seconds long. So it takes 30 seconds to get the message. A flyer, somebody can read that thing in 5 seconds and know, oh, there's an event going on. This is where it's at. This is what's going on at the event. Cool, done, move on. But organically, it's not going to go very far. So you've got to have a boost associated with that. You got to have some ad dollars associated with it, which is why it's okay for the paid strategy. And again, we want all of our promotions rolling through social media to be focused on those measurable business objectives. If I were going to put a number on how many campaigns you should try to plan per month, I think 3 or 4 is a good number. You could get away with less if you got less going on and you want to dedicate your efforts towards that. Cool. But if you're going to put some paid dollars out there, usually about 3 or 4 is where we're sitting at with all of our accounts right now, and that's pretty happy for everybody. We're getting a lot of content out that way. Yeah, let's move on. So last piece here is growing the lifetime value of your existing customers. If you do this, this is good, right? You're going to bring in, you decrease the cost that you took to acquire that customer, and now your ROI just starts to stack if you can grow lifetime value. Well, if we're going to talk about lifetime value, I think reputation management is huge. And the reason is that if you're gaming for good reviews, that's good for business. Why? Because a service that somebody wants to review, high likely that they want to buy it again. If they leave you a 5-star review, chances are they're coming in again. And really the value here is if they share that review online, the ROI, the lifetime value on that one person coming in, maybe they bought one beer, had a great experience, left a 5-star review, and then left town. If that one review impacted somebody's decision to come in, just one person's decision, now you've like doubled the return on that one person. We all know how valuable reviews are, all because we've all bought something off of Amazon. And we know that reviews are a major factor for consumer behavior. So if you can engineer your business in a way that is designed to get more reviews, chances are you're focused on service because you want those good reviews, but also there is a major lifetime value impact on those reviews. So how do you get new reviews? Well, here's a few ideas for you. Visible QR code. We're back to the QR code thing again. Put that sign up at the POS table system area on your tabletops. You could do it in the bathroom. And quick tangent here. My dad, he ran restaurants for like 40 years. And he always told us, yeah, you win customers in the bathroom. And what he means by that is like, you want to have a nice, clean, good experience inside the bathroom. And also what he means is if you have a nasty, dirty, kind of gross experience in the bathroom, not good. So kind of brings us back to our point here. Like, if you're going to put this sign up in the bathroom, great chance for someone sitting there doing nothing else other than hanging out, but make sure your bathroom's clean, make sure it's nice. Otherwise you're setting yourself up for failure there. You can also put this QR code on your menus, just have it visible. That's the point. Make it easy for someone to jump right in to the review platform, you can get a link right into your Google reviews. You can get a link right into your Yelp reviews, embedded in a QR code. Done. Um, I think your staff is really important for this too, kind of coaching them along to facilitate these reviews, asking, hey, how was your service? How was your experience today? Great. You had a great experience. Would you mind leaving us a review? Here's that QR code. It would mean a lot to us. You could even turn this into a contest. I love that idea. And having it be, hey, if whoever gets the most reviews throughout the month, you're going to get a bonus of some sort, whatever that is. A really cool way to try to get that done. I've also seen what's not listed here is like giving away free stuff in exchange for the review. And although like that's gray territory with systems like Google and everybody does it. Everybody does it. They give away the free dessert, the free side, $5 off your meal or whatever to go on and leave us a review, show it to the bartender or the waitress or whatever, um and get that taken care of. That's a method too. But I think there's also a don't discount your stuff. I think if you just made it easy, people would be more likely to review you as well. And you can also use automated emails here too. This is one I really like. So think back to what I was saying about the Wi-Fi gateway or your POS system. Maybe has some of this built in where they come in multiple times and they can track that. Well, somebody who's been in 2 times, that means they liked it enough to come back at least once. That might be a really great trigger to hit them with a, hey, would you mind leaving us a review? Time number one, yeah, probably okay. But like pretty much if they've come in twice, then that's a good chance they're going to leave us a good review. Let's hit them with that automated email and ask for it. And again, here, if you just ask for the review, you don't have to give away something for free all the time. Just ask for the review. A lot of people are really down to do that stuff. Now, also talking about lifetime value, I think that targeted messaging to your customers is good. And there's ways to do that now. So it starts though with segmenting out your customers into their own lists. So if you got a POS system that can track this stuff, that makes it really easy. And some of them, like I believe that Toast does this. I know Paramount does it for sure, where you can kind of see how many dollars per person they've brought in. So you kind of can put a value on people and see how much they've spent. Well, maybe create a list for people who have spent X dollars or more, or have been into the tap room X amount of times or more. That list becomes, you can blast your normal stuff to them, but this list is kind of a special list where you're sending targeted messaging to them, rewarding them, thanking them, giving them a little bit of extra value for being so loyal. That's what you're seeing there on the right hand side is this enjoy a beer, you've earned it. It's like, well, it got triggered when they visited like 5 times. It's like, man, you've been in here 5 times in the last uh 90 days or something like that. Hell yeah, you deserve a 4-ounce pour at least, the next time you're in here. So thank you. And that's what I'm talking about here at the core of it is let's communicate with these folks, give them a little bit of extra for being so awesome. And really what you're doing there is you're grinding up the lifetime value of that person and increasing your ROI on that customer. And that's a great way to grow your marketing strategy, a great way to grow your business. Some other ideas there for you on the left with, well, let's come back up actually to the segmenting thing, because there's something I want to talk about on the social media side. So you have your followers. That's the segment, right? Those people deserve a little bit of praise, and that could be a targeting segment. You can actually, within meta ads, you can go and create an advertising audience for your followers. You can do that because you know that if you post, not everybody's going to see it. Not all your followers do, but and Meta knows this. This is why they allow you to build it inside the ad system. You can build an audience of followers, and you can build an audience of people who have engaged with your stuff. So if they've watched at least 3 seconds of any video over the last 90 days or the whole year, if they've liked a post anytime over the last year, 90 days, you can set a time frame on it. Then you can send targeted advertising to those segments. And it's a great way to get, you're looking for like a high ROI segment on something. That's not a bad one right there, is based on the engagement and followership of your account. So, okay, I wanted to make that point. Back down to messaging examples, kind of talked about this loyalty reward system. Visit 5 times, for example, visit 5 times, get an X dollar reward, bigger and better as you go along. I love the reconnect campaign idea. I mentioned that earlier. If you haven't visited in so many days, here's an incentive to come back. It's a great way to increase lifetime value on that person. And, special offers is the way. Discounts are cool. It's always a nice one to put out there, but there's lots of great advice out there about not discounting your beer all the time. but what else can you give that has value associated with it? I love it when I talk to breweries that are doing like a early access to the release kind of thing for their loyalty clubs, where maybe they release the beer on Friday, but on Thursday evening, loyalty members can come in and sample it and get a taste of it. I love seeing that stuff because it's just extra value for someone. It makes them feel special. And how many ideas can you come up? What else can you do to drive value or give value to these folks? And at the end of the day, the reason why this is important is that you're driving up lifetime value for your customer. And that's why it's important in the business. So let's review the whole thing here. A successful brewery marketing strategy makes it easy for your team to communicate your brand. You have an information hub for new and existing customers. You communicate with your most valuable audience. And I could almost put directly communicate with your most valuable audience there. You have an ROI focused promotional strategy for your new customers that you're trying to acquire, and you're growing the lifetime value of your existing customers. You do these 5 things, you base your marketing strategy off of these core elements, then every other tactic out there, TikTok, posting on social media, email marketing, advertising, it all becomes tools to accomplish these objectives. I think that's truly where the value is in structuring your marketing strategy. And hopefully you got some value from this too. Again, my name is Chris. Also, if we don't get to your questions in the presentation today or in the time we have on this video today, I do have that link on there. You can jump on my website; it's free, and you can set up a time to chat with me, and we can get all your questions answered. Um, yeah, I think we got it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. I know I learned a lot. I think our next session has to be on SEO for sure, because
Yeah,
there's
there's so much.
lots of, I mean, I'm already like, wait, what? The H1, H2, H3 all have different meanings. So I've got to dig into that now. So thank you for that tidbit. And just a quick note to our friends in Massachusetts, because laws are different everywhere, is that we cannot give away free alcohol in Massachusetts ever. We're real Puritan, old school
Mm.
state.
Yeah,
So
you're not alone there. There's other states that are that way too, and you have to just be clever about it, right? So, um, maybe you give away something else for
yeah,
free, or
a free
can you do like
pretzel.
gift cards? Can you do like
Mhm.
a,
Yep.
$5 gift card or something like that?
Yeah, you can do gift cards, you can do you can do merch and pretzels, or there's ways to kind of incentivize folks without giving away free alcohol. So
I
um
heard of somebody in a state, and I don't remember exactly who, but they were like, "Yeah, we can't go away for free, but what we can do is like charge like a penny for it." It's like, okay, I don't
yeah.
know how gray zone that is, but it's like that's an interesting way to think about it.
We're
Charge
also
$40 for it. I
not
don't know.
allowed to discount alcohol in Massachusetts unless you're running the promotion for, like, I think it's 30
Mm.
days or at least 7 days. I'd have to dig into the language on that. But if anyone on the call is interested in it, I can definitely look in. Oh, so a friend is saying,
This is
oh.
why you guys are so good at sports. No one's drinking beer. No, I'm kidding. No, that's see, and that's is important. It's why you got to have these the guild there to help you through some of this stuff because different parts of the country are different, and I think the core still is the same, right? Like if you want to give something special, everybody wants to lay back or fall to default to discounts. And again, you don't always want to discount everything because you're trying to make money, right? But what else can you give of value that you have around you? Is it early access to stuff? Is it merch items that are a lot better margins on stickers and that kind of stuff? I don't know if you guys have Dutch Bros out there, but they do. It's a coffee spot, and on certain days of the year of the month, like they used to do it every first day of the month. You could go, but now they do it on the holidays and stuff. But they give away stickers, and it's a special limited edition sticker. And people will line up. They'll have a line of cars because it's a drive-through one, all the way out to the street when they do these sticker giveaways because everybody wants the silly, custom sticker or whatever. And it's like, how much did it cost them to have that sticker? Almost nothing when they buy them in that high a quantity. And it's kind of created this fandom of a thing. And now they've got people showing up there and buying $30 worth of coffee for the office just to get the dang 30-cent sticker. So
Yeah.
get creative and there's ways around it, right?
Absolutely. So what questions do folks have? Please feel free to fire in the chat, or Chris, if you want to stop your share, we can see everybody's
Yeah,
faces and maybe
yeah, let's do
folks will
that.
feel a little bit more um open to chatting. Although I don't think anyone else has their camera on. No one's feeling Wednesday camera ready.
It's all
But
good.
what questions do we have for Chris? He's obviously a wealth of information. All right, we got a live one. Um,
Oh yeah,
have you seen success with email marketing still?
absolutely, absolutely. It is one of the most valuable channels. Excuse me. Period. And again, to kind of go back to what I said in the presentation, you own that channel, and it's a direct line of communication with people that have raised their hand and said, "Give me your messaging." Um, it's huge, and I'll give you some context. So when we started Get Optimized a couple of years ago, we had packages where we would say we'll just do advertising for you. We'll show up and we'll run ads only on your social media or Google or whatever. And anytime we had a relationship like that, it just didn't work that well because, and what we found was that it didn't work that well because there wasn't a fully integrated reinforcement of that messaging across multiple channels. So what I mean by that is we're running an ad, somebody sees the ad, cool, but like they also need to see the organic post on social that backs that up. And really the linchpin, what's made the difference maker for return is email. When we can tie in um, two or three emails. I'll give you another contextual example with this. We ran a New Year's Eve campaign for Brewery in New York, and is a month long promo trying to sell tickets to that event. Tickets are $75. It includes a whole buffet. It was a really nice event. They have a really nice brewery. But in order for us to run that program successfully, we had social posts timed throughout the month. And every single time we posted on social, we had an email go out. And those emails were a major factor in driving those ticket sales. And we couldn't have done it without email, 1000%. Couldn't have done it without email. And I'm a huge, huge proponent of it. Absolutely. And again, you could take this to elaborate on this more. You could take it and think about just direct communication with somebody, and text messages are part of that. I'm okay with text messages, but you have to be careful. What I said about four emails a month, totally cool. 4 texts a month, that's a lot. You want to be really careful with how much you're pushing out via text because people, it's a very personal thing getting the text messages. So make it really valuable and very special. Someone's giving you their phone number, make sure you give them lots of value and do it sparingly. But apps too, you can push out messages via these apps that are out there now. Um, and that's another form of direct communication. Although with the app, this kind of falls into a hybrid category where you've got the direct communication, but you don't necessarily own that contact because they haven't given you your email address. Um, Another thing I'll say about email, she asked about it, is you can take your email list, export that thing out, and then re-upload it into systems like Google Ads. You can re-upload it into Facebook advertising, and you can create what's called customer match audiences. And if they can tie that email to their own database, um, they can serve. You can create a target audience for those folks, and you have to have a lot in your contact database. You're looking at probably like a couple thousand people at least to make that happen in those channels. But especially for folks that do e-commerce or have a wide regional footprint, those customer match audiences are really valuable. And again, it's based on email.
I can echo that we use MailChimp here at the Guild, and anytime we blast out for tickets for our upcoming festival, we see a huge increase in ticket sales for that day that we're blast, or the next day when people are finally opening it. But we have a relatively high open rate. I think it's like between 47 and 50% for opens.
Yeah.
So we definitely don't do as much frequency as you recommend. Um,
Yeah, I mean, and it's different for you, right? You're a different organization than like, a brewery that's got six things going on every single week.
True.
You don't necessarily have all that to push out. Um, but even with you, I'd say you could probably get away with two a month, and
Yeah.
your folks and your data can support that. If all of a sudden you start doing two or three a month, and you start seeing people unsubscribe, it's okay. We're doing something wrong. We're not putting out valuable messaging. We should curve it back. But yeah, you could do that, and yeah. Yeah, I see a couple other questions in here
Yeah,
too about
that's it.
yeah, if
So
you want to go
you
for it.
recommend a good SMS app to use. We would really like to integrate this.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give you one that I think is just like stupid easy. It's called easy texting. And I love it because it's cheap as dirt. It's like I think it's like you can buy credits in the system. They have two forms. They have like a subscription and they have a buy credit system. And I always just buy the credit system and it's something like it's less than $1 per credit. It might even be like 20 cents a credit or cheaper. It might even be 5 cents a credit if you buy enough of them. And you just buy credits, you load your copy paste your text message list into there and then push a blast out and they can do MMS like with the iPhones and all that stuff pretty easily. So I like that one. I don't think you need anything fancy because you're not going to do it that much, remember. So you're just going to push out maybe one a month. So use the super cheap one and it's fine. So easy texting was the one for that.
Cool. And do you think it would be hard to start backup emails when it has been a while?
Nope. I think you just get them out. What you may find is that because you haven't emailed in a while, uh, you may have people that like the spam filters might filter you out inside of like Gmail or whatever. So you might get some deliverability uh, issues there if you haven't activated that push in a while. You might have people that are like, oh man, I haven't seen anything. I'm going to unsubscribe. And okay, you're just going to have to deal with that, get through it. But you're probably going to see that a lot more people are going to receive it than you ever could think. I would not worry too much about the negative side of things. Um, and just roll it out. I mean, honestly, you could just push it out like you've never been gone. You don't even need to do a, hey, we're back, we're doing email again. You could do that if you wanted to, but just push out the messaging and just like somebody's going to be like, oh, I didn't realize I wasn't getting that, you know. Don't be afraid to get it started up. I think you're good.
Yeah, sometimes better not to call attention to it. Just roll into the great content, right?
Act as if, just keep her flowing. Yeah.
All right, we've got like 4 minutes left. Any other questions for our expert guests today? Well, I know Chris shared his contact information with you all. I'm going to send a recording as well as the deck out to everybody that registered for today's session. Thank you all for attending and spending your Wednesday with us. We're very grateful, and we're very grateful to you, Chris, for all this
Of
great
course.
information. We appreciate you so much. We're so lucky to have you as an associate member of our guild. So check out what Chris and Get Optimized can do for you. And with that, we'll give you back a whole 4 minutes. So go do something great with it. Have a wonderful day. And thanks again, Chris. We appreciate you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers, everyone.
See ya.